So, this is the Everquest 2 live stream for a 101 on a little bit about Everquest 2 and things that you should need to know about this game. I played it for a really long time, and uh, I really want to help people who are interested in the game but have always been intimidated by getting into it, especially since it's so late in the game now to try to get into this game. It's really a fun game, and getting into it actually isn't as hard as you would think. It really allows players to choose the way they want to level. I mean, they're getting ready to do a full revamp and like make a lot of the quests more up to date with their current quest lines. Like most of the current quest lines are voiceover, it's cinematic, all this stuff you expect from a game this year, you know. But they're still doing it to the game from years past. I mean, this game is not anything new. So, when you're playing this game, there's a lot of different things that you can do to level up. I'm here where you start off, which it's going to start off pretty much like most MMOs. You can do these quests and level up. Once you get to about 20 is where people get lost, because once you get to about 20, you're done with this area. This is the starting zone. It was added in the Velius area. It's Hollis. You don't have to start here, but it's usually recommended to start here, or Quenos, or Freeport. Any of the zones that have been revamped for players to make it easier to play. And here they definitely did that. They made this so that it teaches you all the ins and outs of the game. It really helps you become better at understanding the game. So a couple of things going along that it doesn't explain though. Let me go over them. First off, you'll see these things all over the place. These are called shinies. You can collect them. When you collect full sets of them, you can turn them in for rewards as far as items and XP. When you turn them in, they get added to your collections in your collections tab on your journal. And when you have a full collection, it'll say ready to be turned in, to which you will have to find a collections person to turn them in. One of the biggest things I would say to learn other than that is going to be figuring out how to read mobs. So here you've got a level 6 grizzly. So that's just a normal level 6 mob, nothing special about it. Then here you got a grizzly alpha. Now here you'll see that it's got an up arrow on it. This means that this is a harder mob than it appears. It's going to be a bit tougher for you to take on. It's going to not really be a different fight, but it may have specialty moves, it may have specialty attacks that will hit harder than you're normally expecting. So you should be wary when you engage a target like that. Then you have these, which are linked targets, where you can see that here there's two circles when I highlight just this one. It means that these two mobs will attack together. And when you have mobs like this, they're usually going to have these down arrows, meaning they're much easier because you're fighting more mobs together. But you need to remember that you need to be able to do either multiple damage or kill one mob quickly. Like you'd want to go after the grizzly cub first, because he's double down, whereas the matron is not. The matron's just single down. Meaning you could probably one-shot the cub and then take out the matron. Just things like that. It makes fights a little bit easier and a little bit more understandable as far as a tactical standpoint. Other things, when you're leveling up, you can level up multiple ways. Like there is the quest line, which is a good way to level up, but you don't have to use the quest line. The quest lines are there because they give you experience and they give you items, but you can get just about as much experience and items just from killing mobs, at least up until a point. And that's kind of where EverQuest 2 loses a lot of people, is up until a point, you can actually do just grinding to make leveling. Once you hit the around 60 to 70 to 80 area, you're going to find that grinding doesn't work as well as just flat out questing. And they're going to be changing this with this patch that they're trying to do, where they're going to be revamping the entire content up to 90, from 10 to 90, to try to like give it more feeling and uh, basically give you more of a reason to do the quest and less of a reason to pure grind, which I applaud them for. I mean, that's something this game really could use, along with possibly a server migration or some sort of mega server to help with just general people in areas, because you will find that there are servers that, because of the population, are kind of vacant right now, where you're not going to run into a ton of people everywhere you go. Not to say there aren't people playing, it's just most of them are in-game or, you know, not going to be in the general areas that you're in. So as you level up, you automatically get your skills by default. Like, it's going to give you the apprentice versions of all your skills. All your skills, depending on what you are going to be abilities. There'll be a spell tab if you're a spellcaster, or a combat arts if you're, like me, a melee. When you get them, you're going to get them as different versions. Like, these are trade point ones, where because I put trade points into my character, I have these abilities. Back here you have the basic abilities, which when you get them, they have ranks to them, and when you're leveling up, you're going to try to want to get these to master. You don't have to get every single one of them to master, but you're going to want to get them to master, because master means that they do more damage. It's kind of hard to compare to any other game, because I don't think any other game, except for this and EverQuest 1, have ever done it this way. But basically, your spells have different versions. You have the expert, you have the adept, you have the journeyman, you have the apprentice, and you have the master. Not in that order. But overall, the difference is big. Like, researching up and getting your things from journeyman to apprentice, here you can see. So here it is as a journeyman. Here's my current apprentice. From the apprentice on the right hand side, you can see it was doing 700 damage. Now it'll be doing 800 damage as its base. Things like this and pushing your abilities up and learning better and better is really, really helpful. And the fact that they built in this whole research so that you can just like queue it up and let it research, and your ability just kind of gets better as you play the game, is really great. And it doesn't really get as bad as you see here until you hit endgame. And that's mainly, they wanted to encourage people using the trade market over using this alone. So they wanted it to be something that you do, but you not rely completely on for getting your better versions of your spells. And truthfully, I probably should just go buy the book on this instead of just researching it up, but I already started it, and I'm just going to let it go. Let's see, other things. You do have player housing in this game, and player housing can get really, really complex in this game, and it's really, really fun. They actually have competitions for the player housing in this game to show off houses and show off guild halls and stuff like that, where people can vote on them and show, like, you know, who's the best and who people like the appearance of their guild houses and houses on, and kind of give you like an overview of it. Believe that is in this housing and leaderboards, where you can kind of get an idea, like they kind of show off, like, you know, the who's who tribute, and you can visit them right from here. So if I wanted to go see this guy's house, which I'll do just to show off, you know, what a house looks like. Plug this guy's house a little bit. Sure, he won't mind. Let me take off my back piece so it's not hindering your view. So here you've got, he's kind of totally redone a manor. So let's go. Let's take a ride on the TARDIS. Wow. So he has totally revamped his house to look like He's got a tortoise in his house flying through the outer dimensions. Wow. People with... Wow, holy crap, this guy has gotten crazy. So as you can see, you can kind of go crazy with your houses. You can even do themes of Doctor Who and be just outrageously amazing at it. Yeah. Wow. But things like this is just people showing off and really giving you an idea of what you can do in these houses. You can just have fun with them and make them your own and let people enjoy them and share them with you. And it's one of the nicest things about this game because it really lets you have like an outlet to express yourself in the game and like show off things about your character and things you've done or things that your guild has done. Like if I was to go to a guild house, like let me leave this one, see if there's any guild houses up. Not really seeing any of the massive ones that I was looking for. But anyways, I'll come back to these later maybe if I have time. There's just so much you can do with these. You can have so much fun with the housing and making it very unique to your character and what you want it to be. Another thing I should go over. So in this game you can skin everything. You can skin your armor, you can skin your mounts, your weapons, you name it, you can skin it. Like I'm actually not wearing these armor or this sword or anything. This is all skin. What does that mean? It means underneath I actually have my real armor and the way it really looks. Like here I can show. That is what my armor would really look like. So, I mean, I didn't want my character to look like that, so I bought him a skin set, made it all up, you know, kind of mix and match, came up with a skin set that I liked for him. And I took off my aura so you can actually see the armor and not just the aura. The wings are part of another skin set that I have winged over my dragon because, you know, running around all day with the dragon on it's great, but it's just one of those like it really made it hard because people would be like, your dragon's in the way, your dragon's in the way, so that allows you to hide your dragon. Let me go show off some combat and show off some of the world exploration. So once you get done with wherever you start off with, you're gonna find an area, usually it's by docks, that has a travel bell. Travel bells are how a majority of you are going to get around the game. There are other ways, but the travel bells for all the non-magical types is how you make your way around this game. And they go everywhere. I mean, you name it, they go there. There's a few places like these areas that they don't go to, which you have to take other transportation to get to. But it's not something extremely hard or extremely out of the way to get to. So I'm going to go to the Great Divide, which is a 90-ish area. In fact, I'll go to the Cobalt Scar, which is the 90-plus area. So this was the end of the Velius era, and they actually started doing living stories onto it to add into it to give you more to do. And they're still kind of finishing up the whole living story for this area, so I'm not going to go over too much of that because it's really a good story and I encourage people to experience it for themselves. And the lore for it was just amazing back when I was playing it, and I'm kind of coming back to it because the lore is just something that really pulls you into it, and it really was something unique for them to do to like make it worthwhile again. All these are much higher than they were. Maybe I will go to the Great Divide area and save Cobalt Scar. Sorry, I must loot my shinies. He's kind of become an addict in the game. There's the bell. Okay, over to Great Divide. Alright, now normally you can fly wherever you want, since at about 80-ish or so you get these flying mounts, but I'm just going to take a Flight Master since it'll go faster. And go over to the Scar Bridge over here. Down here. So a little tip and trick on these Griffin mounts, you can jump off them at any time by hitting the spacebar. So make sure you never hit the spacebar unless you mean to. But I mean to, because I don't want to go to where it's going, so I'm going to jump off, and since mounts are automatic in this game, mount up and fly down to where I'm going. So here I'll take on this little guy. Now mounts auto de-equip when you're fighting. It's just a feature to make it easier. And here you'll see me doing Heroic Opportunity, and I'll explain that here in a sec. So the way Heroic Opportunities work is, as you're playing the game, you're going to get a skill that says that it begins a Heroic Opportunity. These skills, when you engage in combat, like here, let me engage these guys. So when you engage in combat, automatically the skill becomes active. When you use it, you're going to see it flash other skills that's corresponding to the heroic opportunity item here. So if I use that skill, it will then say use this skill in this amount of time. So if I use that skill, it performs a heroic opportunity, which gives me additional damage and a buff. And that buff is displayed up here. It's Wrath of the Warrior, and it gives me, you know, physical damage done is increased for a short period of time. Things like these just help you to like level and go faster, because when you're performing them, the mobs die much quicker, and you stay alive much longer and have much less of a downtime. And it really helps you as a player get used to doing them, because when you do them, you can actually do them with other classes. Like it shows here is the healer classes. You can mix and match the classes together to get different heroic opportunities and different things that you can perform together, as far as like buffs go and stuff like that. Finish up these guys. Okay, so now that that's all dead, let me go over a couple of last things. You do have other currency in this game. There are places to spend these other currencies, and there's also chrono points, which are used for basically everything. I mean, they're how you do subscription without subscription. You can buy them and sell them to other players and all kinds of stuff. They can be used for everything. You also have these mercenaries. Mercenaries are hired help that basically they have an AI, and they're smart enough to know how to help you out. Like, he's my healer. So if I tell him, he like, let's go kill a bunch of things. You should run away. So you'll see him help keep me alive here and help kill with me. So here I'm gonna get myself into a little trouble and aggro two groups. So there I did my taunt, so everything's on me, so nothing's on him. And you'll see as we're defeating these, my health isn't dropping at all, because he's sitting here making sure that my health is up here by casting shields on me and heals on me so that I'm not dying. And stuff like this really makes it more of a fun game to play, because you can use these everywhere, and if you have multiple people, you can have multiple mercenaries flowing into people when they're not online, or if they are online, you know, you can work together with multiple mercs to kind of come up with your own groups with smaller amounts of people if necessary. Looting in the game is pretty common. Just double clicking on a corpse loots it. You do have these other things, which are lore and legend items, which I should have that one, but let's just double check. So here I've got lore and legend of the orc. If I accept it, it adds it to my quest tab here, which I'm going to actually remove, because I don't like lore and legends being on my tab, so there it goes. So basically when I now click this again, it'll say, do I want to add it? I add it, and there my lore and legend updated. The item disappeared. Lore and legends give you master strikes. Master strikes are used specifically on that type of creature. Basically, when you use a master strike on that type of creature, it does a ton more damage. And yeah, it's useful to just finish them for those and the items that you get for your houses and whatnot. And overall, it gives you kind of just something fun to do on the side, and they're worth a lot of experience when you finish them. Let's see, anything else that you... I think I should go over for you guys. World in this game is huge. I mean, like, this map is gigantic, the one that I'm on. And there's outdoor bosses and AAs. There's a ton of stuff to go into, but overall, the AAs you can kind of learn as you go. Basically, the way they work is as you level up, you have the innate character development, which allows you to like increase your abilities. You have your focus effects, which are things that you want a bonus to. You have guardian training, which are, you know, like as you're leveling up, what skills do you want as grandmaster, and you know, your best of the best. And then you have your skill trees, which are kind of like every game that does skill trees. You build your skills based on how you want it to be. Like, do you want to be a tank warrior, or do you want to be a DPS warrior? Have all those, and then it's even got server setup ones, but you can build your own and then, you know, customize it how you want. And you get 3 sets. Like, you get existing one, you can make a number 2 and a number 3, so you can have 3 different setups and switch between them at whenever. You have then also trade skills and prestige skills. Prestige skills weren't added until like the last expansion. Basically, there's super specialization. It's extra things to make your guy more tanky or more DPS-y. We're more support if your heals, you know. I'm just going off of what's on this guy. But this game really has a lot to it. It's got built-in calendars where you can see what your guild's doing, what's going on in game. It's got guild recruitment, so if you're looking for a guild, you can go here and find what guilds are advertising for players, find what guild you want to join. The community, it really, it's got tons of things that you can find for dungeons. So I will say this, the dungeon queue finder is probably the worst thing about this game. It never has worked. They tried to make it work, it just never has worked. You can try it if you want. I'm not saying that it will work. Usually most people use the chat still and just look for groups that way. Dungeon Maker, however, is probably the funnest thing to do in this game. You, as a player, can sit here and make dungeons for other people to play through. And they just give you all kinds of things to do in these dungeons, where you can add creatures and different looks and different settings, all kinds of stuff to make your dungeons, you know, amazing for people to play through, including lore and, you know, voiceovers and all that kind of stuff. You also have the SOE emote, which mine seems to be broken right now, but you can do this as well, where you can have your webcam track for facial expressions in game, which is something a lot of people like playing around with. Personally, I'm not a huge fan, so the fact that it doesn't really work on mine is fine. But it's something that if you like that, it's something you can do with it. It does also have a card game in-game for you to play around with if you are bored or, you know, whatever, you know. It's, say you're waiting for a dungeon and you're waiting for another person to fill your group. You can sit here and play this card game, and it basically doesn't stop your game. You can play it in-game. It's kind of like Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone. It's been around forever. There's no buy-in or anything. It's just you log in and you start playing it. And I haven't logged in for a while, so they're going to give me a ton of stuff. But yeah, basically you have your card decks and you build your decks, and you can play all kinds of like little mini games in this while you're waiting for your group to get ready. As far as anything else in this, I mean, you've got claim rewards, you've got your character. Battlegrounds are actually really fun in this game. I've heard nothing but good things. And the marketplace is actually the easiest that I've seen for as big as it is. I mean, you can buy everything in here, from leaper mounts and previewing them and, you know, deciding, well, is that something I want as my mount, you know? But and the wings, I mean, here you get all the different wings, nightmare wings, and all this stuff. And a lot of people are worried, well, it has a subscription model. Is it something that I'll play? The subscription, yeah, it pesters you at the beginning, but if you go silver, which basically means spending at least $5 in this any form of way. I mean, you can spend $5 buying a mount. You can $5 on a house. You can $5 on whatever. If you spend $5 in here, they go away. You don't get spammed by it. You don't get anything by it. You'll see it when you first log in that it says you should upgrade. If you don't want to upgrade, it doesn't bug you any further. So, and as far as most of the locks go, you can do unlocks to get anything in this game. If you want a level 85, you can unlock a level 85 and start off playing. If you want to change, a expansion, you can change an expansion, consumables, all that kind of stuff. Everything that you want, you can unlock in this. And that includes mercenaries and everything. So anything you need, you can buy and pay out of the long run. And it's really something that you'd want to do if you want to do it. It's not something they require you to do. Sometimes it's more forced upon you, where like the weapons and the master things are only for subscribers unless you buy the unlock for it, or the mercenaries are only for subscribers unless you buy the unlock for it. Yeah, they gotta make their money, but overall, I think they've kind of done a good job of backing off on all the restrictions for being free to play, and really letting you kind of play the game more and have fun playing the game. And really, the game does allow for quick leveling to get to the end game and kind of starting to play the game. So, as one of those games that if you're looking at it and you're trying to decide if you want to play, I would say go for it. It's really still a game of the times. The graphics aren't horrendous. The controls are actually really responsive and really good for being as old as it is. I mean, the one bad thing would be, as many hot bars as you have to go out because of how many skills and variations of skills that they come out with. But a majority of the time, it never really feels like you're having to hit every single button on these hotbars. It's usually, player preference. I use a lot of hotbars because I have a lot of skills that I don't want to be like, well, I'm going to take it off my hotbar and then forget about it a month later and be like, oh yeah, I had that extra heal. If I had it on my hotbar, I could have used that. That's just my playstyle. So let me put that away. So as far as everything else in the game, you have different XP for different areas. Here you've got my regular XP, my adventure vitality, which is how much of double XP I get, which you get as you gain offline. And then alternate advancement and crafting. And so there's a lot of different ways you can play the game, and a lot of different things you can do while you're playing the game to level up and to have fun. And really, I'm gonna say that you should try it. If you like an RP game and you like a world that's just tons to do and tons of things that you should look through and want to experience. And you can actually level and stop leveling by turning on your AAs to max experience, or 100%. And basically stopping your character's progression, because when it's 100%, all your experience is going towards AA experience. It's the things like that that really make it kind of fun, because then you can, stop and do old world content and then come back into the future and be like, alright, well, we need to level up, do some of the new world content, level up, play the new stuff. Things like that really give it like a good feel for people still coming into the game, because you don't miss out on all the old stuff. You just stop, do the old stuff, continue on. And the old stuff is still relevant as far as lore goes. It's really fun to play, really fun to do. A lot of it's already been revamped, so it's really still up to date. Um, and the game even has an in-game voice system. If you one of those people who don't really like using Ventrilo or TeamSpeak or anything like that, you can use their in-game, and their in-game is actually really good. I thought between most of the in-game voice systems I've ever used, theirs was one of the better. It never seemed to be crackly or like uh, off-toned, and so it's one of those better things that the game has built into it. As far as that, the one thing I will say for mod support is I would get EQ2 maps. That's why you see all these dots on the map. Uh, EQ2 maps is kind of a lifeline for EQ. It gave players the ability to submit quests and quest rewards and quest items, and basically giving you the ease of traveling and questing and everything. I mean, here you can see this is a mount, this is a quest for collecting of that quest. It really kind of makes it a lot easier to find where quest rewards and quest items are. You can hide what you don't want, like you can filter the points of interest, you can hide all kinds of stuff on it. Um, I usually just leave mine going because if I'm doing them, I like seeing what other quests are in the area that I can be like, oh, there's a quest over there, I should go pick it up too, and there's a quest over there, I should go pick it up too. Um, Overall, it really helps make the game more fun because you can find stuff easier and not have as much problems finding things. Um, Aside from that, user interface, it's personal preference. I use Drum UI, which it makes it look like this and kind of more streamlines it. Nothing like super blocky looking or anything like that. Just your hotbars and all your menus. There's a ton of different UIs out there for every person's preference, and if you don't like the way mine looks, you can make it look however you want. I mean, there's a ton of different variations out there. Other than that, I would say that's pretty much everything you should and need to know about the game. Uh, you get different mounts as you're leveling up. You won't have this mount right away. You'll have other mounts, and their mount system in this game is phenomenal. They have 4 different types of mounts, and the 4 different types are just amazing. And I encourage you to have fun with them because they are fun. Like, even though I have this mount, I'll show them off really quick before I end it. So this is a ground mount. Ground mounts are the fastest on ground, but have no flight. And it really makes them still valuable because there are areas where you can only be on ground, so these are how you get around. Like inside houses, stuff like that, in guild halls, you use the ground mount. Next you would have, let me see, I think I have, I guess I don't have the leaper mount. Well, next you would have the leaper mount, but I guess I don't have it on this character. So, I'll skip past the leaper mount and show you the glider mount. So leaper mounts basically jump up. Glider mounts jump up, and then when they jump up, they have the ability to glide. And when you glide, you can basically glide until you hit the ground. And these ones are fast and very easy to control. I mean, you just have left, right, and it will glide until it hits the ground, and then you can glide again. You can hit the ground and jump up and be like, all right, gotta go further, and glide further. It's one of the easier ones to use because it's just once you get it and you get used to how far they glide and where they're gonna glide and how they're gonna glide, it really just is just really, really fun. And then in the end, you get the the flying mounts. And flying mounts, I mean, it's just flying. And they're actually interactive, like they can understand that I'm flying up here, so the wings change, or flying down here, the wings change. And so the mounts in the game are actually pretty impressive for something so outdated. There are also epics and like side things to do from like EQ1 to EQ2, like Boots of Row and stuff like that, which are like these legendary items that you can re-get in this game. There's a whole bunch of detail around those, so I'm not going to go behind and like try to cover all those. It would take a long time. But basically there are specialty items that you can get along your journeys, and even at the end of your journeys, like if you want to go back and get those and collect them and put them in your house, those are things that you can go back and do, and it's really something that adds to the game as far as like things that you can do and want to do to go back and play around with and have fun with. Other than that, that pretty much covers everything. I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I look forward to doing more videos for you guys. See you guys later.